In this era of information overload, information sharing, information everywhere, as I was carrying out a training for a group of executives last couple of days, the issue of confidentiality was one of the things that we had a long discussion about, and we shared and I iterated to a large extent. Confidentiality in organizations. And confidentiality is normally a protective principle that ensures sensitive information is kept secret and accessed only by authorized people. We say it is the cornerstone of trust across professionals, legal, and personal relationships. The pillars that hold confidentiality in organizations is the first critical one is that you should have authorized access. Information remains restricted to designated individuals at all times. The other pillar is data security. This means confidentiality safeguards and prevents accidental leaks or hacks. I mean, a day does not pass. You go to any social media platform and you see very confidential documents. And it doesn't matter the organization, whether it is a public quoted company, whether it's a private company, whether it is personal information, whether it is church organizations, you will come across information that is of a confidential nature that is flying all over the place. The third pillar of confidentiality is trust preservation. Trust preservation. It means obligations protect privacy to maintain the relationship's integrity. So, what are some of the do's of confidentiality? Number one is that the first do is information should only be shared strictly on need to know basis. Only disclose the minimum amount of information required to complete a piece of work or assist somebody. The second do of confidentiality is obtain consent. If you are newly employed in an organization, always ask for permission before sharing that piece of information, either private or organizational piece of information. The third do that is important for confidentiality is lock and secure your data. Keep paper documents locked in cabinets. This is especially for managers and executives. Passwords, protect your passwords as if your life depended on it, especially for digital files and devices. Your phone, if it is used for office work, your laptop, your machine, your computer, ensure you keep those particular documents secure and locked. The fourth do of confidentiality is use secure communication. Send sensitive information in encrypted methods or secure email domains. I know if you work for an organization, you have been given a caveat not to just walk into any Wi-Fi provided area and start using Wi-Fi. There is opportunity there for attacks for your data, for the organizational data. And the last do of confidentiality, verify recipient identities. In fact, there is a philosophy now which is called zero trust access. Zero trust access. It means trust but verify. So make sure that you know who is asking you to send the information. It could be a pseudo account. It could be your boss under the duress of a gun, or to be asked to share information. Or maybe it could be their a family member who has accessed their phones. So verify before you send. Some don'ts of confidentiality. One, don't discuss confidential information in public spaces, whether it is elevators, hallways, restaurants, and public transit, especially if you are using a public vehicle and you're on phone and somebody calls from the office, or maybe and they are asking for information. You never know who is listening. Be careful. Don't just go opening your mouth about somebody information, personal, company oriented, in public spaces. The other don't of confidentiality is don't share passwords. Keep login credentials private and never leave them written down on any form of written paper around you. Be careful. Yeah? If it's a password, delete it or shred that paper if you wanted to pass it to somebody. The third don't is don't leave information unattended. Do not leave confidential documents on printers. Be careful when you are sending for print. It was one copy. I have walked into cyber cafes, or what you call cyber open areas where you go and access email in a public place, and you find some confidential. One of my lawyers, one lawyer who was consulting for me, I walked into one of the cyber. It was close to where his offices are, and I found his client's documents there. And I actually called him and sent him a screenshot. I took a screenshot and I sent him, because he's a family friend. And I told him, I think now you are doing very badly. Okay, he told me he didn't have an office for a while, so he was using that cyber, that particular computer and that cyber for his work. But I told them then there's an element of discretion that you are lacking. It was feedback for him. So don't just don't leave your information unsecured, unattended. The fourth don't of confidentiality is that do not use unsecured devices, whether it is personal messaging applications, whether it is unsecured Wi-Fi networks, to transfer sensitive data. So be very keen on the kind of devices. Once in a while, I found myself trying to access even my email my email from a public or a private somebody's computer, or even laptop, or even and I try to delete my foot tracks as much as I can. So don't use unsecure devices. And finally, don't retain data longer than necessary. Safely dispose of confidential waste, either through shredding, delete files that you no longer need, or you have no legitimate need for it. I want to conclude by saying this, that it is important to purpose to keep confidential information confidential, be prudent about it, protect, and ensure you privately hold that information sacred and how it ought to be. I wish you the very best in your career and your professional growth. And remember to subscribe if you have not subscribed in this particular session, so we keep growing the community. We keep helping each other as we go up the corporate ladder, and even as we excel in our businesses. All the best, and God bless.